If you had two choices, setting aside 38 euros per month now or 317 euros per month later, which one would you choose? I think the answer is quite obvious. But here's the real question. Are you actually doing it? If you ever thought, I'll take care of my future later, then this video is for you. We'll break down a simple 3-step method called PFI that makes financial independence achievable even if you're starting very small. Stick around until the end, where I'll show you a powerful calculation that proves why starting earlier is the best decision you can make. Hey, I'm Emilis, and on this channel, we simplify investing so you can grow your wealth and make your money work for you. Over the last 5 years, since I started sharing my knowledge with the world publicly, I have built a separate portfolio exceeding 100,000 euros, consulted over 500 clients, and helped people invest more than 15 million euros. I'm here to share what really works. If you're serious about financial independence, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. The PFI methodology is the structured step-by-step approach to financial independence. It stands for present, future, and investing. 3 key pillars that guide your journey toward financial freedom. Imagine you are building a house. Before thinking about the design or the decor, you need a solid foundation. Otherwise, everything collapses. Your financial life works the same way. Before you can dream about wealth, you need to fix your present. Handle your budget, emergency fund, and debts first. Let's start with 3 simple steps. First of all, budget. Budgeting sounds boring. I get it. But here's a simple rule. If you're saving at least 20% of your income, don't let anyone tell you that you're bad with money. For me, pay yourself first method has always worked. One of the books covers it in quite a lot of detail called The Richest Man in Babylon, but let's explain it in very simple way. The moment I get my salary, I automate my savings and investments before I even think about spending. That means certain percentage of my salary goes directly into saving. If you want a detailed guide on budgeting, stay tuned. I'll be covering it in the future videos. But for now, here's a simple actionable step. Pay yourself first. Let's take a practical example. Imagine you earn 2,000 euros per month and your essential expenses, rent, food, utilities are around 1,000 euros. If you commit to saving 20% of your income, or 400 euros, immediately when you get paid, you'll consistently build wealth without feeling deprived. That means first thing you do when you get paid, you just transfer 400 euros in a separate account, even if you start with just 10% or 200 euros. The key is automation. Set up an automatic transfer to your savings or investments account, and that way you won't have to make a decision each month. This habit alone can be the foundation of financial freedom. All right, let's continue with emergency fund. No one talks about this, but without a safety net, investing can be dangerous. Rule of thumb is minimum 3 months of essential expenses, and at the same time, if your income is unstable, 6 to 12 months. And no, your investments are not an emergency fund. Imagine this. You have 1,000 in essential expenses per month, and suddenly your car breaks down or you lose your job. If you rely on your investments to cover this, you might be forced to sell at a loss, especially if the market is down. Instead, having a dedicated emergency fund means you can handle these situations without disrupting your long-term financial goals. Now, how much should you save? If we take the example of 1,000 euros of essential expenses, minimum 3,000 euros, recommended is between 6 and 12. Think of it as your personal financial insurance, there to protect you when you need it most. Let's move to paying off high interest debt. If you're carrying credit card debt, payday loans, high interest P2P loans, they're eating away at your wealth. If you have, let's say, 5,000 credit card debt with 20% annual interest rate, that's 1,000 per year in interest alone. Money that could have been saved or invested. Paying off this debt should be a top priority because every euro spent on high interest payments is a euro that isn't growing your wealth. Let's settle the priorities. Pay off anything with over 8% of interest before investing. Review anything over 5%. And there are few exceptions. First of all, mortgages and low interest student loans as well. These can be managed while investing. Once you've handled these, you're ready to the next phase. Now, everything we've covered so far is about building a strong financial foundation, just like constructing a house. Without a solid base, everything else will collapse. So far, we tackled 3 essential pillars. Now that your financial foundation is in place, it's time to shift your focus to the future, your vision for financial independence, how much you'll need, and how to make it reality. Let's dive into the next phase, planning for the future. First of all, we have to talk, how does financial independence actually look for you? Let's start with definition of your dream life. I know it sounds weird, but stick with me for this one. Imagine your ideal life. Where do you live? What does your perfect day look like? What do you do when you wake up? This isn't just wishful thinking. It's about setting a clear financial target. Now, practical exercise, take next 30 seconds and write down what your perfect day would look like. Now, the first stage is to be completed before we move to stage 2. Now, in stage 2, we're trying to answer how much does your dream life actually cost. Let's say your ideal monthly expense is, I don't know, 1,000 euros. To be financially independent, you need enough investments to cover that amount. There's a very quick calculation for this. Multiply your annual expenses by 20 to get your financial independence number. So if you need 1,000 euros a month, that means 12,000 euros a year. You would need about 240,000 invested, assuming the 5% withdrawal rate. I'll break this down in detail in a different video, which is a bit more specific with calculations which you can add to your specific scenario. I mean, taxes, returns, and so on and so on. All right, once you've done this, let's move to stage 3. We want to calculate your financial freedom timeline. Once you know your target, the next question is how fast can you get there? Let's jump into compound interest calculator and have a look. All right, first of all, we want to jump in compound interest calculator. Now, you can use whichever one you like. I love this site, and let's assume we start with 0. Let's take 10% average return, and let's take, I don't know, let's kick off with 40 years, and let's assume we can invest 300 euros a month. Now, what we're looking for. Can we achieve 240,000 in my example? Yes. It takes a little bit too long in this instance, like the person would have to invest significantly shorter to achieve that. So let's amend the years. Can we do it in 30 years? The answer is yes. Can we do it in 25 years? And the answer is still yes. Can we do it in 20 years? That's where the playing begins. 227,000, so not entirely enough. So 21 years to actually achieve 240,000 milestone. Now, let's assume that you picked up the calculations and you said, I got over a million, let's say like 900,000 or a million. Maybe you can invest more. Maybe you can invest for longer, and maybe you can invest with high interest. Normally, I would change the interest last. I would aim at years and the amount, because when you increase the interest, that means you're increasing the risk to burn your portfolio altogether. Now, in 30 years, you can see that you can reach over 1 million. So initially, in my mind, I think everyone can achieve that as long as they have long enough horizon and they can start early enough. Now, play with this calculator. I'll leave it in the description if you want it. But at the same time, I will remind you, if you already have investments, let's say this is my portfolio with 104K, I can start with 104,000 and say, okay, up till a million, I'll need 15 years and I can invest 2,000 euros a month. Will I achieve 1 million? Pretty sure I will. So can I do it in 13 years? Okay, 12 and something. And a quick reminder that over 900 people subscribe this portfolio, and you can see everything I buy and when I buy it and when I sell it. If you're interested, the link is in bio. The reminder here is the longer you wait to start, the more painful it gets. Now let's move on to the most exciting part, the investing phase. And now that we built a strong foundation and we made that goal where we're going to, it's time to actually put your money to work. And we start by saving. Saving is step 1, but don't let your money sit in a zero interest account. Options to beat inflation is high yield savings account, short-term bonds, money market funds, all of that. Even a 1 to 2% return is better than nothing. But saving alone won't make you wealthy. It only helps you keep up with inflation at best. The goal isn't just to preserve your money, it's to make it grow. Imagine putting 10,000 euros in a saving account, earning 1.5% interest. It would take nearly 50 years to double. Compare that to investing, where historically even conservative investments can grow much faster. And that's why the next step, investing, is where real wealth is built. Now, on the second part is starting investing. Let's talk long-term investing. Top options for beginners are mainly 2. The S&P 500 ETF, which is low-cost, diversified, and historically bringing strong returns, and all-world ETFs, more diversified but slightly lower past returns. Want a deep dive? Check out this video about ETF comparison, where I invested over 16,000 euros so far. Finally, the power of compound interest. Now, let's go back to the 38 euros now or 317 euros later. Let's say you want to reach that 240,000 in investments, assuming a 10% annual return. If you start now and invest 38 euros a month, it takes 40 years to reach your goal. The amount feels super small, but over time, compounding does the heavy lifting. If you delay and start 20 years later, You need to invest 317 euros a month to reach the same goal in just 20 years. 8 times more per month. The key takeaway here, the earlier you start, the easier it is. Small, consistent contributions now mean a far lighter burden later. Waiting only forces you to play catch up, requiring much higher contributions to reach the same outcome. Alright, that's it for today. If you like what I do, click that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.